it sounded so abusive and oppressive. And it sounded like that's when I really started being like, oh, I don't know if this is for me, because I was like, you are conditioned to do the same thing 8 days a week. Like at 2:45 on a Sunday, you know exactly where your right hand is going to be,
Yep.
right? And if it's not, you're going to get notes. Like
Yep.
you're going to get notes about. So you can't decide which director you're going to have, come in and out of your life and direct you in the role that you want. It doesn't, you don't have that precision. As an entrepreneur, you really do. You can decide, like, who do you want to enter your sphere? Like, who do you want to work with? Who do you want to help? Who do you want to play with? Who do you want to collaborate with, power partner with? All these things. You have so much more control, which I think some people find lonely, some people find exhilarating.
Welcome to Too Legitimate to Quit. Instantly actionable small business strategies with a pop culture spin. I am your host, Annie P. Ruggles, and my guest today is the ray of sunshine known as Ron Ben Joseph. For close to 2 decades, Ron Ben Joseph has used the principles of effective communication to successfully engage, educate, and inspire clients to discover and articulate their true greatness. As a presentation coach since 2000, he has worked with actors, musicians, teachers, doctors, salespeople, and professionals in many fields to present themselves honestly and confidently, both live and on camera. When not coaching or running around after his high energy superhero daughter, Ron can be found performing his comedy show on stages around Denver and Chicago, or directing theater productions ranging from opera to musicals to one-person shows. Ron has a BA in theater and psychology from National Louis University, which is literally 3 blocks away from Columbia College Chicago, where my musical theater degree is from. Plus, he also has an MA in communication, media, and theater from Northeastern University. Ron, I think we just had like an hour pre-chat about everything that we dislike about beloved musicals, and I'm grateful for that. But I didn't bring you here for that. That's just for me. I brought you here so you can tell our listeners, what do small business owners need to focus on this week?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I feel bad saying what they need to focus on whatever you feel is comfortable, right? Because when I have a coach and they tell me like, oh, you need to focus on this week, I'm like, okay, and I'm like, oh, but I need sales, I mean, my answer is sales. Like, honestly, focus on sales every week. Fuck, like,
I'm not going to fight you on that. I teach sales. So,
right,
yes.
right. Focus on sales. Like, what activities? Okay, no, I'm doubling down. I'm gonna step into my power and say, focus on sales this week. Like, yes, what I teach and what I coach definitely helps with sales. But my first answer is focus on sales, right? And I think so many business people I've learned, and successful ones too, like oftentimes will be like, they'll do everything to avoid getting on a call, getting, oh, I have to fix this thing with the website. I have to spend 16 hours on my logo. I have to, but instead of just like connecting with someone and being like, how can I help you? How can I serve you? How can we help you solve your problems right now? So sell this week.
Yes, please ask and receive, y'all, and receive joyfully. Don't feel weird about it. If you sell ethically, you got to feel good about it. So many times I hear people be like, I got a sale and it felt really good. And now I don't know, I got to go get another one. And what if the client hates me? And I'm like, do not go down this road. Now is your time to shine, baby.
I will say that, like, so I hit my big financial goal last year in December, and I was like, oh my God, I did it, right? And I thought there'd be more plumes. Oh, and you don't like Pippin, right? Like, you don't
Okay,
like Pippin,
Pippin
so
can jump into the sun, but we'll get there. No, but we think that there will be more, and we don't initiate it, and so we're like, hey, where's my fanfare? Where's my parade?
and that was my realization, was so like I hit the number, I was like, this is great. And then like January, like I had still like ripple effect of like some sales that came in January of this year of 2022. And then like February, March, like I was like, oh my God, I have to do this again. Like I have to get back out and hustle. So I just want to, like, I get it. Like it's
Yeah.
exhausting when you have that big sale and you're like, I did it. But you got to keep that pipeline going. Keep the momentum. My dad always told me, he's like, the most important thing. He was a sales manager and then he became an entrepreneur and very successful at the time. He was always like, don't take your foot off the pedal. Keep the pipeline. Make sure you're booked out for weeks, months ideally.
Well, and I think our mutual background in theater conditioned us well for that, right? Because unless you're in a sit down show that you intend to be in for forever, you know that at the end of your run, you need to be auditioning again if you're not auditioning while you're still in runs, right? So you know that your meal ticket, your money is going to dry up at the end of that show. And if you don't have another show, then you're picking up more hours in your barista job to try to make the gap fill.
Well, I remember having like so many friends like on Broadway tracks, like in Broadway shows. So you go like they're making a full-time living, that like whatever the minimum was, right? They're finally making a living. They didn't have to go to their barista jobs, but I remember they were auditioning all the time. Like
Yes.
during the day they auditioned and they do their show at night.
Yes, because you got to get your pipeline filled. Like it's the exact same thing. And to be entirely transparent, I did not do this well this summer. I am normally a lot better about maintaining the flow of my pipeline. And for whatever reason, I mean, I'm sure it was myriad reasons, some of them mindset based, some of them distraction based, some of them based on the fact that I'm sick, whatever. I don't know. Excuses for days. But I'm normally better at stocking that pipeline. I'm normally better at looking ahead. And this summer, for whatever reason, I blinked and I went, okay, who's next? Oh, nobody. Empty house, right? So like I've been promoting a show and forgetting to sell tickets. Why do we do this?
It's such a great question. I was there too. This summer was weird. I mean, like I started noticing it in April, May of this year, where, and this is timely, as I don't know if people are like listening to this in 2025, but in 2022, my sister, who we were very worried about getting COVID because she's super immune compromised,
Yeah.
my daughter actually gave it to her in like a second, like in February, and
Ah, the
so
gift of children.
yeah, the cesspools of goodness. So my sister got it and was just out for 2 weeks, and then after that 2 weeks, it was like, come out wherever you are. It was like we can escape now. We all made it through. And I didn't get it. My co-parent didn't get it. Like, so we're like, okay, like I guess we're okay. Like, I mean, we could still get it, but like we can make it through. And
Yeah.
so that also led to like this weird like, wait, so what does life look like again? And I
Yeah.
think summer, I had a slower summer too. Like I had a lot of meetings and stuff, but it was not, it was like, it definitely wasn't as packed as earlier in the year.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of that was that there was this collective, like, can we come out? Can we play? Oh my God, we can go out on vacation again. We can travel. We can do all these things. I think like there was that too, which was this new thing of like, oh, I remember summer. Yeah, summers are typically slower. Whereas 2020, 2021, I was packed.
Exactly, because everyone was inside with nothing else to do other than hire me and
Mm-hmm.
take a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
sales trainings and listen to a bunch of podcasts, right? Because we were all stuck inside. And I think
Right.
one thing that's happening this year too is also like, okay, COVID is still sort of a thing, but not really a thing, or at least we know how to manage it now. And most of us are vaccinated and blah, 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 blah. But then also at the same point, they're like, oh, hi, by the way, would you like to go into a recession? Like, no, we just
Yeah.
got sort of kind of out of a pandemic. We have a new pandemic coming in, and now everyone's like, don't spend any money.
Right.
Okay, fine. Fine. I won't sit any money. I'll just sit on a beach and cry.
Exist.
Yeah, I'll just exist, which sounds really lovely, but not particularly good for business. And is also even easier when I'm in that phase of like, squirrel away your money, keep it kind of close in, live your life before we get shut down again, like all of these different things. It does give me more context for why I was like, oh, leads will come. Y'all, leads will come if you get after them. Leads will
Yeah.
come if you make yourself available to them and diligently nurture them. Leads are not just going to show up.
Well,
And I
especially if you're in
know
a
that, but I
service
just didn't do it. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, especially if you're in a service-based business,
Yeah.
or I mean, really, even I mean, like, especially if your product or service helps others in this time of need, right? Like, I have a title, like we made a fancy title where it's like visibility conversion strategist, but I'm like a public speaking for sales coach. Like, that's basically what it is. Like, I work with female entrepreneurs and executives to female executives and entrepreneurs that have been told their whole lives they're too much or not enough, and now they want to get on bigger stages because they want to share their greatness and their talents and their abilities, and they're like feeling like their throat is closed completely, and they can't, oh, too much, not enough, like somewhere in that range, they're like, I don't know how to put myself out there, right? So I help them create content and the performance skills to get out there. So public speaking, podcasting, videos, anything where they have to put their message out there. And so many of them, like are in that industry of like helping others and wanting to like share with the world and solve problems. And I think like they're still doing great. Like they're still making it. They're still making money. They're still selling because it's like you said, it's ethical. It's not gross. It's not like you should buy this from me because, it's just a very good product. Like, no, like these women are helping others grow and develop and achieve their goals and reach their dreams and stuff. So, or achieve their dreams, reach their goals. Either way, it's a lot of helping. So
It's a lot of helping.
if you're doing good things, like the money's there. I found.
If you open yourself up to receiving and you ask, right? Because
Yeah.
that's how I
Yeah.
wound up teaching sales, is that I felt like I was just giving and 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 giving, and over delivering was like natural to me. And I don't think it occurred to me until I had almost put myself out of business 157 billion times, that the reason why my business was suffocating me, even though my clients adored me and I was so happy doing the work I was doing, the reason why it never grew and was literally wrecking my nervous system and immune system was because I was unwilling to ask. I figured if I just gave and gave and gave and gave and gave and gave and gave, that they would show up and buy tickets. And like, you still got to sell the tickets. You still got to ask them to come. Your seasoned subscribers need to be re-enrolled. I know, I used to work subscriptions. You still got to call them. They're old. They have other things going on.
Annie, do you know that? Side note, I have to put this out there. This is like between you and me, but like I used to sell subscriptions at Northlight. I forgot to tell you. Yeah, I used to sell subscriptions.
Aw.
Yeah, I know
Well, see, but you
more
agree
in
with me
common.
then. I know you agree
Yeah,
with me. Your
yeah, yeah.
subscribers who love you and shell out top coin, they still need to be called. We call them multiple times in a year to see what they want, if they want to add things, if they need to change their dates, what if they know about next season, what they're excited about next season. We don't just go, oh, there are subscribers. We'll show back up. I've been an Art Institute of Chicago member for a bajillion years. They still send me 97 letters being like, time to renew, time to renew. But
Right.
we don't take that into service-based businesses because we don't want to be pushy.
But it's such a great analogy. Yeah, because like I remember being at being a member of Steppenwolf, and that wasn't top of mind for me. Like I was busy. I was in college. I was starting as a theater director. I was like I had my theater company and everything, and they called me and helped me. They were doing me a favor by calling me. They weren't bugging me. They were like, oh, by the way, if you want to renew. It's really funny. I had a call this morning with a financial advisor who she's awesome. Like she's super cool. And like I was like we got on a just a networking call to see who I could pair her up with. And I really liked her. I wasn't feeling necessarily like called to be like, oh, I have to work with you right now, like selling her my service. But she after speaking to me, she goes, you know what, actually, can we talk about your finances and like what your money goals are and all this stuff? She's like, because I'm hearing you're in a trans, like she just nailed it. And
Mm-hmm.
the way she said it, I was like, I'll totally have a conversation about money with you. Like I have four other financial advisors that are clients as of this moment, that my brain goes, I'd work with them if I was in that market. But you, like the way she asked was very much like, I'd love to talk to you about your goals, like what you want to do. That's very different than when you get on LinkedIn. I get three of these or four of these like a day. Like, hey Ron, I saw that you're a coach, and we specialize in coaches just like you, getting them more leads. And we looked at your website, and like coaches like me, like you lost me right there. Like like that is not flattering at all. Like if I was like I'm on the market now, so like if I was dating and I went to a meetup or some like a singles event, I was like, oh, I date women like you. Like that doesn't help. That doesn't explain anything, you know? So that, you know, like that's a different way of asking. That's badgering. That's annoying.
Now I just want to set you up like the worst dating profile ever based on how people market themselves. Like, I date all women ages 17 through 65. I date all women. I date women like you. I date nice women. I date women with lungs. I date like what? What? Like, what are you looking for? All of it.
Right.
What
Right.
makes you a
All of
great
it.
person? Everything. Like, what are your flaws? Nothing. Like,
Nope.
okay.
Don't
You'd
have
be
them.
like, this guy is a serial killer. Run away. Right. But we do. We have that like people pleasing mentality that follows us around and is worried about getting rejected by the people that might reject us. So we don't offer ourselves to anyone, even including the people that have already paid us. Right. Re-enrollment is the lowest hanging fruit there is. You know what's also really funny about what you just said, because I get those messages all the time, but you and I met because I sent you one of those messages.
But you sent me a video. It was so lovely and you're so charming. And I was like, oh my God. Like I remember thinking like she's so personal. She put the effort in. Like, how dare you not respond to that? You know, like me. Like I was like, how dare you? Like fucking respond. Like that is effort. Like, and I was like, please tell me something. Like that, and you haven't. Like, except for like your awesomeness and your
I'm like,
friendship.
I sold you on being my best friend. I
I
sold you on
know.
being on this show with me.
And I was like, I'm all in. Like, I know. I find you very healing.
Oh my God. Yes, I am healing LinkedIn one DM at a time. It's my new cause.
You're healing my spirit. I'm like a recovering theater person.
Well, and I've been retired for longer than you. So,
Is that true? Wait, like I pieced out. Oh yeah, I dip in though. I did a musical in 2019 and
yeah. Therefore, I pieced out way before that. But
and you never look back. Like you don't.
no, I can't say I never look back. There are shows that I have yet to do that I would love to do. There are songs that I would love to sing again or for the first time. And there are also like, because I spent so much time by design in an ensemble or in a chorus, what I really miss, not to go off Phil Spector, but what I really miss is that wall of sound feeling when you're in a chorus and everyone is just belting their tits off and it's like, whoa. I miss that. I miss that a lot. And so I feel like theater to self-employment, theater to thought leadership, theater to finding other performative communicative stuff to do. Speaking, and I know that's one of your main areas of focus. It's also a huge part of my background because of my mom, decorated motivational speaker, now also retired from speaking, not theater. But what I experience on stage by myself is very different from what I experience on stage with other people. And it's not so much if I'm playing a character or being me. I thought I would miss that more, but I'm kind of a character myself. But I do kind of get on stage sometimes and get lonely, which I honestly believe is a huge part of why I have an interview podcast instead of a solo podcast. Like we are on episode 80 something, 90 something of this show, and I've yet to do a solo episode, and I don't plan to because I'm a chorus girl. Doesn't mean I don't belong on stage, but I like to have buddies.
It's so profound to me because I was in the chorus once or twice, like in high school. Like
Yeah, it's because you're a straight man in musical theater.
thank you, but I was not talented. Like I was not a good singer prior to. Like I was a really bad actor in high school, and
Honey, who wasn't a bad actor in high school? Unless you're
true,
a
but like
Fanning, who wasn't bad actor in high school? Come on.
but it wasn't until like in my early 20s I had an amazing acting coach, Ruthie Landis, who's in Chicago, Ruthie P. Landis. She and we had like a few sessions and I had a callback for something and she just like we did this like gestalt exercise. It was amazing. And after that, like the seas like parted and I became like I got really good feedback as an actor and I got like lead roles and stuff. And then in my late 20s, I'm 42 now. So like in my late 20s, I learned to sing. I told you by doing a Neil Diamond impression comedy act. So there's a Neil Diamond musical now.
Yes.
I would go to a comedy club and do this Neil Diamond thing where I'd do some jokes as a Neil Diamond character. And I love solo performing. So like for me, like that's if I'm performing, it's the only it's the only place I don't have anxiety. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
so calm because it's everything's on that vibrational scale. So I was doing like clubs like all over Chicago, comedy clubs and opening acts and like doing all these cool things. And I would do this thing where I'd come as a Neil Diamond impersonator and I'd sing like Neil Diamond and I got a song been on my
I'm
mind.
so sad I was living here and never saw this because I fucking love Neil Diamond. But please continue.
I love you, Andy.
I love you
So
too.
that taught me to sing, and then I would sing like I was invited to sing at clubs and bars and stuff as myself. And then I I was going through a really rough time, and I had like really bad anxiety. And I'm not a medicine person, but they put me on medicine. They were like, you have to take this. So the first week that the medicine kicked in and I didn't have a panic attack, I auditioned for a community theater production of Jesus Christ Superstar.
Today's pop culture topic.
Boom, and got cast as Jesus, which was unheard of. And then after, like for me, I was like, I was the guy. Like, all I wanted to do was sing, and I couldn't, so I became a director and a teacher and all these other things. But all I want to do is sing, and here I am playing. This is my favorite. I mean, it's my favorite album, but it's like my favorite show. I would be the tree in that show. I mean, not that tree, not like the
Yes.
tree that Judas hangs himself, but like I would be a tree in that show. Like I love that show so much.
Yes.
And classic rock and like with my voice, like I sing in those high C's all day long. I'm in heaven. And then I was like, after that, I was like, cool, right? Like, so then I'm like, I did the last 5 years in a small production in Colorado where I moved eventually, and I did Disaster. So like, I don't spend that much time in musicals. I sing in my show now, in my comedy show. I full like sing covers, but to me, like I'm always so impressed by chorus people. Like, and I'm not saying that rudely. Like
No.
they work 20 times harder than any like Jesus, like you're on stage for 20 minutes. Like it's not
Yeah.
it's
You go on, you sing your high notes, whereas like you're literally getting carried around in the choreography by members of the chorus who are actively singing.
right. And dancing and moving set pieces and changing costumes.
Yep.
And I had one costume. Like so I'm just like but I remember like I was in Sweet Charity in high school. I was Herman, but they cut my song.
Oh.
I know, I was very upset. They cut my song. I couldn't sing it, but at the time, but I remember being in the ensemble as well and being like, this all goes back to. I remember feeling lonely. Like I remember being like, yeah, and just being like I felt so lonely and weird. And so, is that like, what is it like to be in the like? It sounds so stupid to say this, but
No,
like,
but I mean that's the same thing is like
is it fulfilling? Like,
it's fulfilling. I think this is so interesting because this really does have more to do with how I turned up than I thought because I love promoting other people. I love sharing space with other people. I love holding space for other people. I also know my lane and I stay in it. And I think that's another gift from theater because for folks who have never seen me, I am 5 feet tall. My face is all eyeballs. I am chunky is I think the technical term, right? So Christine Daae and I are not going to be synonymous anytime soon, but I might be a Meg Giry for the right production, right? And so I think early on I realized that having one or two lines, making people laugh, and then getting out of there and going and standing in the back of the chorus is actually really kind of comfortable and more fun because you get to play nicely with others. And like one of my main things was, and this is probably to the detriment of me now as an entrepreneur, one of the reasons I loved being in the chorus so much is your relationship with validation is very different because choreens don't get called out in Chicago Tribune reviews very often. Right? Like you and I had a previous talk about Chris Jones, who's a big reviewer here in the Chicago area. Chris Jones is not going to be like, Annie Passanisi, fifth dancer from the left, was really killing it. Or Annie Passanisi, fifth dancer from the left, needs to go get a fucking day job. Like there's anonymity in that. but then it's kind of fun to sort of peek out and be like, hey guys, I'm here. But now that I'm out here on my own, very fame like, now, God, the fucking musical references just abound. Now that I'm out here on my own, it is isolating, sometimes lonely, sometimes, and all critiques and all validation are based solely on me. I'm a solopreneur. I'm the only one. If I get a 5-star review or a 1-star review, it's going to have my name in it and it's going to use my pronouns and be about me, even if it's about my work, even if it's about the podcast, even if it's about the academy. It is a critique of me, positive or negative. And I don't feel like, if I had been out playing Jesus in front of everybody in my one costume and my 20-minute high notes, which I can't hit those notes, so you could sing higher than me. Shocking. I think my relationship to all of that would have been different, but it is really incredible, and I'm grateful because I see what people can do together, and I can also see how individual flavors can still shine within a casserole.
Yeah. Well, and that's a huge point you're bringing up because, like, for a lot of people too, a lot of my clients, they might have been in corporate where it is like an ensemble, right? Where like they were part of a team. They could, if they needed a resource, they would call IT or they would call, a different department, and then within hours or days, like the resource is there and supporting the team and everything. And uh now all of a sudden they're solopreneurs, they're doing the marketing, they're head of marketing department, they're head of sales, they're head of development, they're head of IT. They can't just call downstairs and get a new laptop. It doesn't work like that, right? So this notion, I love the journey you described because it's so indicative of what we all go through as solopreneurs, where you go from a job with support with a team to all of a sudden on my own,
Mhm.
or
Oh my
out
God, now we're
here
Les
on
Mising.
my own.
Well, we're Les Mising mashed up with fame. We're
Yeah,
lay faming. Just
yeah.
mixing it
Le
up.
fame, le
Le
fame.
fame. Le
But it is
fame.
it is a big transition, and that's why that being said, that's why people like you are so helpful, right? Because it's like you go, let me help you make sense of the isolation and how to connect more. And that's the beauty about like sales, I think ultimately, is like you're connecting more. So I'm part of a group, like there's a poster behind, you can say, but the Dames, and there's a Chicago chapter of the Dames, the Dames.co. You can look them up, but it's for high achieving 6 and 7 figure female entrepreneurs and executives. And in Denver, we do an event every other month. So we do like an in-person extravaganza. And I'm not officially a member because I'm a dude, but like it's all women. But I help the owner and I work with a lot of the members. And it's all about being seen. It's all like everything this organization is about not being isolated, not being siloed, but coming in and being like, you are part of a community, you are part of a team, you are part of, and if you need anything, there's this leverage that can happen. Um, and that being said, it's like my clients, like we either we're on calls just checking in or we're working together, and it's just like you can create that ensemble, as it were. You can create that community as an entrepreneur by selecting who you want in and out, right? Like part of when I went to acting school for 5 minutes, like I said, in New York, and like I remember where I was 23, and it was the sister school, the Juilliard, so we had a lot of the same teachers. And I remember one teacher being like, it was always the Juilliard kids, the Juilliard kids,
Oh
the
Lord.
Juilliard kids. When we tell them jump, they say how high and all these things. And I was like, it sounded so abusive and oppressive,
Yeah.
and it sounded like that's when I really started being like, "Ugh, I don't know if this is for me," because I was like, you are conditioned to do the same thing 8 days a week, like at 2:45 on a Sunday. You know exactly where your right hand is going to be,
Yep.
right? And if it's not, you're going to get notes. Like
Yep.
you're going to get notes about. So you can't decide which director you're going to have, come in and out of your life and direct you in the role that you want. It doesn't, you don't have that precision. As an entrepreneur, you really do. You can decide, like, who do you want to enter your sphere? Like, who do you want to work with? Who do you want to help? Who do you want to play with? Who do you want to collaborate with, power partner with? All these things, you have so much more control, which I think some people find lonely, some people find exhilarating,
Yeah.
so that was a big journey for me, is like it, like just being like, oh, I'm not alone. Like I'm not on my own out here. I'm like, oh, I have support and I can call. That was a big thing for me this year when in this transition of like this weird new year, I was like, but I can call friends or I can call clients and go, hey, I don't know how I'm going to pay rent this month flat out. Like, I'll be honest with you. Do you need anything? Can I, that video you wanted to do or that keynote? And they're like, you know what? Yes, actually, boom, keynote. And like within a day, they'd send me, payment. Like, and then we start coaching. And it was like, I had that support, which I've never had before.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's like, you can have that. That's the beauty of building a community in the business world. And again, I work with women. So it's like, it's even
Mm-hmm.
more supportive.
Yeah. I miss having a director sometimes. I need to be reined in sometimes.
Well, I'll
Real
direct your
bad.
one woman show anytime. Anytime you want
Yay!
to do a one
Okay,
woman
good,
show.
good. That's good. That sounds really, really quite lovely.
Because I gotta tell you, like I hear you about the ensemble thing, but I gotta put this out there.
Mm.
I've been teaching public speaking since 2010. Prior to that, I was teaching acting, and I was like, oh, like I went and got my master's, and I started teaching public speaking in colleges and then to entrepreneurs and stuff. And it's literally the past year that I'm like fallen in love with this art form for business, for creative expression. I think public speaking, I'm like, we should have public speaking shows, like not stand up. Like, I mean, yeah, we should have stand up, but like
Right.
I'm saying it's
We're
different
not
than stand
saying
up.
murder stand up. We're saying in
Right.
addition to.
Like I don't personally do public speaking. Like I go out and I do stand up. I mean, I have a comedy show, so I do comedy, but it's like I just love directing. To me, it's like, give me the opportunity to direct Jesus Christ Superstar. Okay, for
Yeah.
sure, I'm there. Give me the
Yeah.
opportunity to direct anything else. Like, I don't know, like we'll talk about it. I don't know that I want to do that, but like when I get a client that's like, oh, I want to get out there and tell women how they can make more money so that they can not be in oppressive relationships or
Mm-hmm.
they can change like the political landscape for whatever in whatever direction. All right. I mean, I support if someone's heart centered, I support them. So if they're doing it for the right reasons, I'm all in. And like that to me, I'm like, my eyes jump out of my head. I'm like, yes, like that is the
Mm-hmm.
power entrepreneurs can have. I'm sorry about theater people if they're mad at me, but at $300 a ticket to have like, a 22-year-old Carnegie Mellon grad yell at me no day by today and tell me like, Ranch, we're here to change revolution. Like you're not. Like, I'm sorry, you're not revolutionizing, in my opinion. Like it's like at $300 a ticket, like I'm the only one seeing this thing, like
I could have an entire conference of like a West Side Story Jets and Sharks fight between the people that love Rent and the people that hate Rent because everybody I know is either one or the other or has spent time as both. Like, and no gray area. You either love it or you hate it.
I will say, like, I appreciate that we have room to diverge here. Like, I saw a documentary about on HBO Max about a production in Cuba, I think,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that was really cool. Like
Yeah.
that really like tugged them. That like from a human rights perspective, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Like they're taking it to the people, But like the Broadway production, where it's like I had a bad experience because the first time I saw it, I saw that like the first national tour, which I guess like people were not fans of. I was not. I don't. I just remember walking away. I was like, this is what everybody's about. Like, and so I just felt like it was whiny and just yelling at me. They're yelling at me, and I'm like, I'm here. Like, like, could you imagine in sales, like bringing in a group of people to your sales funnel and then yelling at them, you're not doing enough. You're the
That's what a lot
problem.
of people do. That's what a lot of people do. They're like, hey, you are amazing, but also a giant sack of shit. And only I can show you the way, right? I mean, we're talking about JCS today. We're talking about guru culture, not calling Jesus a guru, don't at me. But, we're talking about that idea of hero worship or pedestaling people. And there is this bait and switch in a lot of the way that personal development is sold, where it's like, you are an incredible and amazing person, but you suck right now. And you can only reach your full amazingness through the path of me. Because otherwise, you're just going to be a sad sack of crap forever. And it's like, oh, ew, ew.
I know that's bro marketing, right? That's like the hard sell.
Oh my God. It is bro marketing. It totally freaking is in that way that it's like, let's tear other people down and then with the promise of building them back up. Ew.
And that was what was so revelatory for me, like what doing Jesus Christ Superstar, like because like for it's so funny, like my I remember at the time like we had a family friend, she's like, and I was born Israeli, and then we moved around the world, so I never got to like really be Israeli, and I'm not really I mean I identify on stage as Jewish, but like I'm pretty secular, like I'm not religious, and when I was in Jesus Christ Superstar, one of my parents' friends, like the daughter who's very like into Judaism and has a master's in Judaism and stuff. She's like, "Why did you choose to do this part?" And I felt like there was judgment in her eyes, and I'm like, "Choose to do this? Like, who the fuck chooses to play like the greatest part in musical theater? Like,
I mean, who's going to refuse the opportunity to sing Gethsemane, which is the Olympics of musical theater? Come on.
right?" And it's just, I mean, it's like it's so funny. I mean, it is a really hard song, but like it's just pure great rock, you know. And so I remember like my mom, who's like super Israeli, like she never left technically. Like I mean, she technically did, but she's like lives an Israeli lifestyle wherever she is all over the world. I remember I auditioned. I wanted to going along with his point. I didn't think of it as a choice because I auditioned not thinking I was going to get anything, and at the time I was going through a really rough time. I wasn't confident, and I certainly wasn't. This was the beginning of me singing as myself, and at the time I didn't even think I was a tenor because I had a voice teacher tell me for years, he's like, you're a baritone, and it's, I mean, it's really just, like it's just not true that I'm
I
not a
mean,
baritone, but
Gethsemane, baritones cannot sing Gethsemane. Like, it's
right.
not possible.
Like it's just so, but I was like, okay, like some baritone, but I can sing all these high notes. And in my show, I was singing Meatloaf songs like without any problem. Like I love Meatloaf. So I was singing
Oh.
"Bad Out of Hell" and I would do anything like no problem, right? But I'm okay. So but I agreed with him at the time, and I was like, okay, I don't care. I just want to sing. So I thought it was a baritone, but I was like, regardless, like I'm like for some reason I'm able to sing all the Judas parts. So I'll just audition for Judas. They're not going to cast me. And our friend Barry
Hi,
Irving,
Barry.
Barry Irving. I'm mutilating his name, Barry Irving. He was at the audition, and I was like, oh, like he's gonna get Judas, so I can just
Yeah.
go have fun. And they were like, I auditioned, and they're like, okay, do you want to? Are you sure you don't? Because I wrote on the thing, I don't want to do any other part but Judas. Again, not thinking, not taking this seriously. And they're like, you're sure about that? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, okay, all right, well, we'd love to have you come back for, you can sing for Judas tomorrow. So I come back and I'm singing, the thing. And again, I'm not thinking, I love the song so much,
Yeah.
right? And I'm not thinking I'm not going to get it. Like, and then I hear Barry sing Heaven on Their Minds. I was like, okay, this is done. So then they like, they hold me back. They're like, Ron, come here for a second. They're like, you're sure? You're sure? And in my head, I'm like, fuck, we had this conversation. Like, yes, this is the only part I want to do. I'm not going to
Well,
drive
because
to,
you're also thinking they're going to have you be like Pilot or something, right? And then you'll have like one really fun song and that's it.
right. I'm like, I don't want to drive out. It was like 45 minutes away from where I live. I'm not going to drive out to
Mm-mm.
Pilot. Like, that's not,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
right. I was like, no. So they were like, what about Jesus? And I'm like, I was like, I went into a runner's lunge. I kid you not. I went into a runner's lunge and I go, I can't do that. I'm Jewish. And they go, and they just nailed it. They go, so is he.
That's true.
I was like, fair, okay. So I sang for Jesus, and they had me sing Gethsemane. And again, I never in my wildest dreams thought that this would happen.
No.
And I'm singing Gethsemane again. It's like it's comfortable. Like it's just not like it's just I like just figuring out like when it's like my Lord, like when like you just say just figuring it out. But I was like, this
Yep.
is remarkably comfortable, and like, I have a rock voice, so this is like not a
Yeah.
problem. And they were like, okay. And so I like leave the audition. I call my mom, who, like I said, is super
Oh
Israeli, and
no.
I'm like, I think they're gonna offer me Jesus. And she goes, oh my God, you have to do this. You have to do this. And as broken and as like in pain as I was as a person, and I was like, I mean, I really a month before I was in a really bad place, and I was like, this is my win. I have to do this. I have
Yeah.
to do this. So then literally they call me like as I'm driving, and I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And the ensemble
Sure.
hated me. Like the ensemble hated me for the whole rehearsal process pretty much until like the week before because I was so insecure and so shy. And I was like, I have to know my Lord. I kept it in. And
They're
then
like, sing
once
it.
they're like, sing it, just sing out loud. Once they give me a microphone, I was in heaven. But
Yeah.
the point is that to that question of why did you choose to do it? Because to me it was just music. Like I just love the music so much. I didn't know, I was ignorant. I didn't know too much about the characters. I mean, and what I found was in research, this is like an hour long story, but in research, to your point, he did not like, he just wanted to be a teacher, right?
Yeah.
He wanted to teach the beauty of kindness and spirituality and faith and unity and all this, right? Like, so he didn't set out to be a guru and like,
Yeah.
you
No.
have to do this, you
No.
know?
Which is one of the things I love about JCS is that it shows how exhausting being the center of something is.
Mm.
And
And how
what's
quickly you get
also
canceled.
how quickly you got canceled. And also, the main character of JCS is not Jesus, it's Judas. And what's awesome about that is it's basically an entire show from the standpoint of a disgruntled consumer. If you think about it, he was really, really sold into it. He was loving it. And it stopped working for him. And he started feeling kind of lost in it. Didn't know what his spot in the greater picture was. Maybe got jealous. Maybe got scared. Maybe got attracted. Who knows? We don't know. We weren't there. And so instead is this idea of I'm going to be this detractor and carve out my own path of things. And it doesn't go so well. So we have a reluctant guru who's like, I just want to take a nap. Don't touch me. Literally, he sings Don't Touch Me like 100 times.
Right,
And
right.
then, like, don't touch me. Like, okay, we won't. Good job. And then we have Judas who's like, everyone's going to be pissed at you, dude. Everyone's going to be pissed at you, dude. Everyone's going to be pissed at you, dude, without actually being like, excuse me, I'm pissed at you, dude.
Right, like nobody initiates. Like nobody says in the first act, like we're gonna be pissed at you. Like he's the one, right? Not
Yes.
taking accountability. But you're right. Totally, that's such a great perspective because there's so many productions right now where I saw American Idiot
Mm-hmm.
last weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm in Colorado right now, right by where, like literally across the street, we had the fires at the end of last year. Like we had
Yeah.
the Marshall fires over here, and it was really terrifying and all this stuff. And we're still like every day we drive into school. My daughter's school is called Fireside, and it is Fireside.
Appropriate
Like they
term. Jeez.
yeah, they need to change that name. So in this production of American Idiot, which I love Green Day and I love the music,
Mm-hmm.
and I've auditioned for it before, and like I just like I didn't end up doing it, whatever. But like this is my first time seeing it live. They did what I'm seeing in so many different productions, especially rock musicals, which is my favorite rock musical. Right? Like they did a whole video montage prior to the show starting, where it shows, they're like, it starts with like, it's just another exciting New Year's Eve, 2020. And then it's like, but then the pandemic, and then all the shit happened, and then everything went south, and then politics, and then everyone's mad at each other, and then the fires, and then the shootings in Boulder, and then all these things. And I was like, you guys are just shoehorning misery. Like, do we
Mm-hmm.
really need that? And then I saw the 2014, I think, or 2013. There's a recording, there's like an arena Jesus Christ Superstar with
Mm-hmm.
Tim Minchin playing Judas, and
Mm-hmm.
he's awesome. And Mel C from the Spice Girls, who I think is great. I have such a crush on her. Like she's gorgeous. Like she's brilliant.
Well, also so underrated, so
So underrated.
underappreciated, and that
She's so
voice.
good.
Oh yeah, amazing.
She's Mary Magdalene. And so like they do the same thing, video montage of like post-apocalyptic, like, preceding like all the political landscape that we have now and everything. And it's just like, it's misery, misery, misery. I want to see a production of Jesus Christ Superstar, which literally what you just said, because that blew my mind. You're so right. This idea of disgruntled consumer. This is not what I signed up for. Jesus!
Yep.
This is not what
Yep.
I signed up. I'm not warmed up today. This is not what I signed up for, like, and
Yep.
then how I'm gonna turn everyone against you and
Yes.
like bring you down. And the leader's like, I'm just saying, like, let's be nice to each other. Like I'm tired. Like,
Well, Judas's main complaint against Jesus is that he bought into his own hype. And how many of us as solopreneurs are terrified that we will create our own Judases? Right? Like, how many of us are terrified that we'll get too big for our britches, that we'll be out there, and then someone will come for us because we're living as our authentic selves, right? You're starting to believe this talk of God is true. Like, that is his main freaking gripe, is that Jesus is bought into Jesus.
this is such a huge, oh my God. Annie, like this is amazing. Like this is for entrepreneurs. What you're saying is so genius right now. You're buying into this talk of God is true, but it was the talk of God. Like I don't know how else to I don't know how to shape this, buddy. Like
Nope.
it was always talk of God.
Mm-hmm.
I always talked about God, and at
Yeah.
no point in Jesus Christ Superstar does he like. What does he say that's like so bad?
Nothing.
Nothing.
But Judas's whole thing is like, we're fucked and this isn't getting better, right? Have you forgotten how
Right.
put down we are?
You promised this would get better. Yeah.
Right, right. And then Jesus in the middle of it is like, hi, I just wanted people to be nice to each other. I didn't start this stuff. But we did discover in the pre-chat that Jesus also invented sales shame. Jesus invented the stigma of selling, according to Andrew Lloyd Webber. Again, don't at me. We're talking about the character of Jesus in Jesus Christ
In
Superstore
the musical.
store. Jesus Christ Superstore. There we go. There's a mashup.
In the musical.
In the musical. In the musical.
And it's our interpretation.
Right,
Jokingly, like
exactly.
we're laughing. I did a podcast a few weeks ago reviewing Elvis the movie, and
Yeah.
I made a comment, and based on the movie, I'm like, based on the movie made me think this, and someone wrote this like long diatribe of like, fucking just research, man, just look it up. That is not true. Like, I'm so sorry. I'm just saying the movie elicited a response in my head.
Oh, you want to change your opinion of Elvis? Everyone needs to read Elvis and Me, written by Priscilla Presley.
I saw the movie.
Anyway, but you know, like Jesus goes into the temple and there's all these people just selling their wares and they're saying and this is my favorite scene of the musical, by the way. And part of the reason why, like, I have not gotten to sing this in a chorus, and I was talking about before, like, things I would come out of retirement to do. I would come out of retirement to go on stage, sing the temple song, and leave. It is amazing. It is swirling. The choreography is always terrifying. I want in on that mosh pit real bad. But the salespeople are saying, well, before they're all turning into lepers, because that's the other thing, because Jesus invented sales avoidance. But they're coming in, they're like, coming in for the best in town. Take your pick of the finest wine, right? They're just selling their freaking wares. They're fine. And then Jesus comes in and he's having a real bad day. He's got, Judas up his butt. He's got all these people yelling at him, telling him what to do. And then he goes in there and he doesn't really want to be sold to. And then one pushy salesman. And what does he start doing? He starts flipping tables, screaming, literally scream belting,
breaking their stock, right?
breaking their stuff. And then in the next verse, literally the next verse, all those salespeople are lepers and they all want something from him. Now, Jesus, before this, they were just salespeople. And now they're literally lepers trying to claw his eyes out. So what are we saying about sales here, Jesus?
And to be fair, like as we're going serious here, right? Again, we're kind of kidding, but like, to be fair, just to justify this, that many salespeople, that many vendors, they couldn't have set up shop without permission from the temple, like from the people running the temple, right?
No.
Like whether the high priests or whatever. Like,
it's not an underground night market,
right? And you see productions, and it looks like an underground like rave with like heroin and all that, but like in like more like conservative productions or like strict productions, like you like I don't know what the right word is, like straight up. It's like when we did it, it was like a more kind of down the middle, like it was like a market, like it was like a bazaar, like you would have now at a JCC or a synagogue. You have like these bazaars where local artists, like an art fair,
like a street festival.
My temple should be a house of prayer. It is.
But you have made a den of thieves. Like, excuse me, salespeople.
These aren't thieves.
You have made it a den of salespeople.
Why they gotta be thieves?
Right? You have made it a den of thieves. Get out. He jumps all the way there. Right? Okay, so maybe he is showing up in sales avoidance. So we have a sales avoidant guru in the middle of all of these things and a pissed off re-enrollment VIP long-term client sales who's really irritated that Jesus keeps changing his value prop. No talk of gods, then. We called you a man.
Or is he not delivering in Judas's eyes? He's not delivering on the promise that he made. Like He's like, this is the deliverable. We're going to work towards this in X amount of time, right? He gave the project like a deadline, maybe on some level. He's like, look, within the next year, we're going to get these results. It's like one-on-one coaching. We're going to get these results if we work and hit these benchmarks, these KPIs. And Judas, like, you know what? I paid you 6 months ago. I'm not seeing, or a year ago, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not seeing the results.
Where's my ROI, Jesus?
It's not here.
Where's my ROI? Where is it? I don't see it. Everybody else is seeing it. I don't see it. Too much heaven on their minds. Like, come on.
You should have stayed a carpenter. You are not in your lane, Jesus.
Nope.
Jesus, you are not in your lane. You should have stayed a carpenter. You would have had a niche in the market. You would have had like you would have been an artist. No, Jesus. I say that's what Judas is saying, but no.
Yep. But I mean, also just, I think we've just realized that the entire 3.5 hour onslaught of gorgeousness known as JCS is all a whole big show about expectation management.
Nice. Very true. Very true.
Right? I mean, seriously, when do we ride to Jerusalem? When do we ride to Jerusalem? When do we ride to Jerusalem? And Jesus they're always repeating shit at him. And Jesus is always just like, why should you want to know? Calm down. They're all like, no, we don't want to calm down. We were promised these things. And they're not angry about the promises yet. They're eager for the promises. But whereas Judas, who's been your biggest fan for a long time, is really over your over-promising.
Right.
Really over it. And Jesus wasn't even trying to overpromise. Jesus was just trying to market himself.
Right.
In a sales avoidant way. Oh my God.
I know. We should do that production. Like we should do, like that's what I'm saying. Instead of like video montage of like everything that's awful happening politically, I'm like, I want to do a video montage of how Jesus comes to power and how Judas feels that he's not getting his ROI, but how quick cancel culture is to like how quick they are to jump down his throat and be like, you're out.
Yep.
All right. I want to do another production. Okay. All right. I'm manifesting.
All right. You're back as Jesus. We'll get our mutual friend Barry to be back as Judas.
I would never do it without him. Oh my God. He was so good.
And I will be chorus girl number 7. The one who gets to see my legs, I'm a mass of blood. That's my favorite gross lyric in the show. So I want that one.
All right.
Dibs.
You got it. I gotta say, there's a video of Barry as Judas killing it on YouTube. If you go North Riverside, Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh, we're putting it in the show notes for sure.
He is so good.
Well, yeah, we'll do a new one and it'll all be about expectation management, hero worship, re-enrollment, keeping the customers you have instead of just getting more customers. Because that's the other thing I say all the time. Like, you got to treat the customers you have like the family that they are while we're out focusing on new. It goes back to what we said at the very beginning. Re-enrollment is low-hanging fruit. Taking care of the people that you want. Maybe Jesus's only air quotes crime was trying to go out and get new followers instead of taking care of the 12 he already had.
Great point. Yes. Correct. That is what that makes a lot of sense. Yes.
Like being sold into a intimate mastermind and then there's 150 people there.
Not what I signed up for. He wanted more one-on-one time.
This is supposed to be a dinner party of 12 people and now somebody's dying. What the fuck?
Not cool, guys.
Yeah, and he got a better offer and he took it. All right. I got 2 more questions for you, or otherwise we're going to do this all day and I know you got to go. All right. Well, we're going to remount that production and you're going to be back as Jesus. We've already established that. But you are going to make a rock musical about another guru type or figurehead type. Whose rock musical are we doing next? What rock musical are you writing around what guru?
Oh, what a phenomenal question. You know what I would do? Oh my God. Okay. So my first thought was like Anthony Robbins, right? That's an obvious one, but that's like,
yeah.
That's not fun.
Oh God.
I'm not a fan. So
Tony the musical.
You know what I would do? Tony the musical. That's funny. Get a Tony Award. I would do Maria Forleo, the rock musical.
B-School the musical.
B-School the musical.
Okay, that is the most entrepreneurship sensitive answer I've ever heard in my entire life, because anybody that doesn't normally listen to this would be like, who? And everyone who does normally listen to this is going to be like, oh my God, is there going to be an entire segment where everyone sings the same email at you? Yes.
But it'd be the sequel to Jesus Christ Superstar, because It'd be like Love Never Dies or whatever, but it'd be like this, like, because like I remember I had heard so many things about her from clients that did her program, did B school, and it was very consistent what they were saying, and the same thing. Like it was like she made a promise to build a car, but didn't give us the wheels and blah blah blah. And there's more people making money off of just selling the program than
Yep.
taking it and whatever. And then I heard her on a podcast interview, and I just like fell in love with her. I was like, wow, what a cool person. I was like, what a cool person. Like, not what I expected her to be. I expected her.
You reverse Judas. You started as late Judas and went to young Judas. You got converted.
I got converted a little. I mean, I still don't like follow her or anything, but like, I just think I think she's awesome. And so like, yeah, it would be cool to be like, to show the humanity amidst the brand, like.
I've been watching her for so freaking long. I could go old school back to like her videos on the stool with the brick wall.
That's what I think about.
Yes, I
Yeah.
just want the set to be a stool and a brick wall. Production
Yeah.
value through the roof, production cost minimal. All right, Marie
Totally.
Forleo, the musical. Marie, call us. Call
Yeah,
us.
we'll do it. I'll run that walk to do it.
And I mean, if you don't want to play yourself, Marie, I know a girl with a musical theater degree and dark hair who would be glad to sing some B school riffs. Oh my
You would
God.
be so good. Oh my God, you'd be such a good Maria Forleo.
Thank you, darling. But enough about me. Let's talk about you. If our fabulous listeners, including women entrepreneurs who are out there trying to get on their platforms in a non-douchey way and create something loving and whole around themselves and elevate people around them with their message, what is the best way for them to come into your world and start a conversation with you?
Great question. So, you can find me. My website is Artful Speaking, so 1L, artfulspeaking.com. You can go there, or Ron Ben Joseph, on Facebook or Instagram, and definitely, yeah, reach out. Like, I'd love to talk, or on LinkedIn. Certainly, LinkedIn is like the best. So Ron Ben Joseph. So Ben-Joseph is my last name, first name Ron. And I'm really pumped. I'm starting a course that's going to be launching pretty soon here, as of this recording, on where it's creating a signature talk for sales. So signature talk for conversion, and it's an 8-week program. We meet once a week. It's going to be super exciting, super fun, based on all the stuff I'm doing with like high-end coaches. We're adapting it for first and second year coaches. So
Hell
coaches, consultants,
yes.
strategists. So people that are like, they're in it for a year or two. They know what they're doing one-on-one, but they want to initiate and convert that into something that's super scalable, where they can take that one-to-one and move that message into one-to-many, and engage and excite new clients as a result of their signature talk. So that's going to be out there. So yeah, so Instagram, Ron Ben Joseph, LinkedIn, Ron Ben Joseph, or Artful Speaking.
Oh, freaking magnificent. Well, thank you for bringing your Judas fire, your Jesus inspiration, and your soothing Mary Magdalene energy to TLTQ today. You know, I just adore you, and I've had such a blast getting to share this mic with you today. We just hugged, y'all. You can't see it, but we hugged.
I just adore you, Annie. Annie, you're wonderful. Thank you for doing this podcast and for the opportunity. You're awesome.
Oh, y'all, I feel so good. I'm going to be back in just a second with my final thought and your homework for the week. But in the meantime, for this 1 second, try not to get worried. Try not to turn on to problems that upset you. Oh, no, I'm not going to sing.
Surely you're not saying.
Wait. Woman, your fine ointment's brand new and expensive. Should have been saved for the poor. Right? Again. Why can't she use what she wants? Why have they been wasted? We could have made maybe 300 silver pieces is not that much, Judas. Calm down.
That's a misogynistic controlling of women's money right there, but that's okay. That's a different conversation.
All right. Final thought coming at you in just a second. Well, hey there. What a romp through my past that was. Plus all the scream belting. Truly an episode for the ages. I hope I was clear enough that I was talking about the fictionalized, leaping, singing, prancing character Jesus, and not Jesus, so that I don't get angry letters from offended listeners. But as we talked about in this episode, sometimes we piss people off or let people down, even when we don't mean to. Just another kind of sad, kind of lonely reality of solopreneurship, occupational hazard. And yet, there is something we can do. Other than the blatantly obvious, be a good and generous human. I don't think assholes could tolerate this podcast. Therefore, you are glorious and ethical by default. This week, your homework is to reach out to your oldest and most loyal customers, check on their needs and expectations, and express gratitude for their feedback and continued support. It's not just about re enrollment, although if the praise is glowing, get that cash a flowing. Are you both growing together, though, how you want and how they expect to be? Is there anything unspoken between you? Do they owe you money? Should you double down with them or maybe even encourage them to move on? If nothing else, and if all is well, what recent wins can you celebrate together? I've always said in order to buy, folks need to feel seen, safe, and supported by their service providers. Surely our long term fans still have the same needs, maybe even stronger ones. Just don't let them get lost in the shuffle. All you have to do is ask. P.S. Speaking of occupational loneliness, if you are looking to get some FaceTime with me, meet some glorious people, or get a burning question in your business answered, don't forget to sign up for the next Non-Sleazy Sales Academy open house happening September 15th. All you have to do to register is go to stophatingsales.com. That's stophatingsales.com. Hey, thanks for listening. If this episode kept you laughing and learning, I have two requests for you. First, make sure you hit that subscribe or follow button, depending on your platform, so you never miss an episode. And also, more importantly, if you are looking for support, inspiration, networking, collaborations, or just a chance to hang out with me, Annie P. Ruggles, and our fantastic guests, make sure that you are a member of our LinkedIn community, The Legitimati. It is a weird and wonderful place. I can't even believe it's on LinkedIn, and we want you there. You'll find the link in the show notes. Big shout out, as always, to the fabulous dudes who helped me make this show. My producer and editor, Andrew Sims of Hypable Impact. My theme composer, Riley Horbasio. And my show art creator, Francois Vigneault. See you next time.